In this incredible design series, we're showcasing some of the latest innovation from around Australia. From big company design through to mum and dad inventions, we've got it all. Welcome to Australia by Design Innovations. Well, I'm at the Photovoltaic Energy Research Lab here at the CSIRO testing facility in Newcastle. And it's just one of the many places where innovation is put to the test. And down the road at the CSIRO in Sydney, we have a very special group of design industry leaders gathered, judging each innovation featured and selecting along the way the very best to go through to our final episode later on in the series.
With such a diverse range of expertise and experience around the table, we're able to come at the innovations from such different perspectives, and it really means that we can assess each project on such a different level.
Well, first up, a piece of innovation that has the potential to rock the music industry.
I dig the sound of the whammy bar on my electric guitar, but they don't make one for an acoustic guitar. The guys at ByDesign have created a digital whammy bar that just sticks right onto my acoustic. So now I can sound like Jimi Hendrix and Neil Young all in one. Oh yeah.
Behind this unassuming garage door, there's nothing short of a design revolution taking place in the music industry. Anyone was going to design a piece of equipment for a guitar, it's going to have to be you. I heard you've been around the traps quite a while.
Yes, I used to be an engineer and a producer, and
Come on, Peter, don't be shy. The big names such as Cold Chisel and...
playing the acoustic guitar on K-San.
No way.
I did like Eagle Rock with Daddy Cool. I'm playing one of the parts on that and a few other things. Other people played solid body guitars which had whammy bars on them. So I had whammy bar envy.
What is a whammy bar?
Let me show you. By moving this lever, you're basically lowering the tension so you hear that?
See, it's actually stretching
So
and pulling and
it's
stretching
physically
and pulling,
moving and stretching
which then
strings.
changes the pitch.
A guy who was a guitar player but also made jewellery, he put some clamps up here on the
So it
strings.
stays tuned.
So now it couldn't come loose on the tuning. Most people who've bought a guitar with a whammy, they use it for a few weeks and then the tuning thing drives them crazy.
So this is your innovation?
This solves the problem of the tuning because it's a digital whammy bar instead of mechanical. Let me show you how you put it on a guitar. I press that on the guitar, I leave it for a couple of seconds to stick, I get the unit itself, I slide that on, now that's on there forever, that's it.
That is absolutely cool.
And I sent it to my mate, Ian Moss, and he loved it, so...
Hang on a sec, you said Ian Moss, as in Cold Chisel, Ian Moss.
Yes, Ian, and
Get
he's
out.
He's since become my business partner in this and a co-designer because he's the world's greatest crash test dummy.
Unbelievable.
So, yeah, would you like to meet him?
I'd love to meet him. Ian, g'day, mate. How are you?
Good.
That was sort of more me saying, Pete, I'm really sick of this thing going out of tune. I've seen some products on the market where you can do a bit of pitch bending, but what about let's look into developing this and taking this further? And then Peter sort of picked it up and ran with it and left me behind the dust.
For these guys, the guitar is the centre of their universe, and their intimate understanding of the end user has resulted in the next game changer for the music industry.
The next project is for our Australian farmers doing it tough.
Solar Pack is a great innovation, a new take on water capture. Captures it on the top of the actual tank. You've got the solar cells, you've got a pump, all self-contained, an amazing design. I want one.
Now, it really doesn't matter whether you live in an urban area or out here on a farm. In my opinion, every single household in the world should have a rainwater tank. This little piece of innovation could just be what we're looking for. Not only does it harvest and store water, but it uses the sun's energy to pump it anywhere we like. Hey, Dave.
Hey, Jamie, good to
Is
see
this
you.
where it all happens?
It sure is. Jump aboard.
Good stuff. Beautiful. Wowzers. I tell you what, that's actually quite a dish.
It is. Designed to catch the rains. With a conventional convex roof, the water just runs off onto the ground that's wasted. So we thought, well, why not have this designed roof that we can catch every last possible drop? Even with the dew, you might get 4 or 5 litres.
Yep.
But the important part is when it rains, it's actually, the tank is actually catching the rainwater.
Yeah.
Instead of just running off on the ground. So me personally, I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, mate, it's a fantastic idea. It's not every day you see solar panels attached to a rainwater tank. Why?
Solar pumping is at the start of its career, I think, at the moment. It's about to take off. It's environmentally friendly. There's no electricity. You've got solar energy available more often than you've got wind.
Yes.
And this little setup here, it'll give you a 50 metre head with that little pump in this setup.
50 metres?
50 metres.
So it'll push a column of water 50 metres up into the air.
Correct.
That is incredible. So I could essentially pump water to the top of that hill if I wanted to.
Absolutely.
That's unbelievable.
So this is the new technology and definitely the way to go. Much more cost effective than windmills.
So for farmers that are on their knees after long periods of drought with not a lot of profit, this is an excellent solution.
Definitely. And it provides a quick fix too. A lot of
Yep.
the times in drought situations, you need quick water, especially for cattle. They're thirsty.
Are the cows responding to this?
Oh no, I don't think they really care. As long as they get their feed and their water, that's all they really care about.
Yeah.
But as people, we should care.
Yeah.
And that's where we can do our bit.
I agree, mate. Well done. Water conservation has never been so important, and smart innovation like the one we've just seen will go a long way to making sure that every drop counts. After the break, Terry's in Albury on the hunt for someone called Pat. We've gathered a group of design industry leaders at the CSIRO to judge and select the best design innovations for the year. Next, a surprisingly powerful innovation that combines data collection with sustainability.
I love this story. 2 guys that took their families into regional Australia and they're helping to reduce the reliance on single-use plastics. They've designed an integrated water solution and they've even thought about the dog.
I'm here in Albury, right on the border of New South Wales and Victoria. Like many of us, usually I'm just passing through. But today, I'm here to check out a world first. I believe I'm here to meet someone called Pat. So which one of you's Pat?
No, not me, I'm Nick.
I'm Nick as well.
So where's Pat?
Well, Pat is a play on words, so we can go to the Murray River and check it out. So this is one of the most exciting products that I've worked on.
Why is it called Pat?
Well, the actual play on words there was Pat is tap backwards. This is not just your average water fountain. Over here is our dog bowl. You push the button.
Look at that.
And it fills up, self-drains so it doesn't overflow. You release your foot and it self-cleans itself so there's no stagnant water or nasties hanging around the water station. And every other detail we've designed on this product has a reason. The bottle refill point, you can rest a bottle in single hand operation. On our drinking fountain arm, we have accessibility for wheelchairs. Our nozzle design has a stainless steel hood that stops mouth contact. The drain also allows debris and leaves to escape.
And what's this?
That there is a solar panel. That runs the lighting in the unit and also data collection.
This is quite a dashboard you've got going on here.
Yeah, so this is our live data feed coming through from all of our water stations.
So you can see that I was there today?
No, it can't tell you specifically were just there, but it can tell that someone was at our water station. We use that data to analyse different offsets so we can understand how many kilograms of CO2 emissions you save by using a water station and not using single-use plastic.
Just like phones have become smart and they're not just for making a call, Meet Pat has turned the humble bubbler into a smart device, helping councils make smarter choices to create smarter spaces.
Next, design that considers comfort for surgeons.
A brilliant medical product is often generated from co-designing alongside surgeons. This is a really great example of that, and the surgeons will really appreciate it at the end of a long day's surgery.
I think keyhole surgery is amazing. The advancements in technology over the years have just been out of this world. The suction irrigation device irrigates fluid in and it sucks it away.
So tell me, Alana, what problems have really been solved with this device?
What we observed by spending time with the customers, there's an issue for laparoscopic surgeons for their hands. They can get a syndrome, and it's a bit like carpal tunnel, but it's to do with their wrist because they're in really uncomfortable positions for long hours. What we did is we designed this so that this shaft can be put in 2 different positions. So in this position, that doesn't look very natural. If you change the shaft over, this enables the body to be in a neutral alignment.
I've seen that you brought some of your prototypes here, so do you mind showing me? I love this, it's so exciting.
Prototyping is really important. It helps to do your design verification checks. And this was what was passed around the office, checking for the hand position size. With small girls, large guys with big hands. So yeah, prototypes are a really important part of the design process. Design helps to identify what the real issues are, not just what you think they are. And the end user is going to give you the insights that you need so you can address those directly. And that's the magic in design.
This is the suction device. It fits nicely into the hand and basically it has a very good ergonomic feel to it. It feels intuitive and responsive, it's not heavy. Here we've got some water, but in real life this could be some blood and some other body fluids in there that we need to get rid of before we finish the operation. Cleanliness is very important. Then you put it over the puddle, okay, anywhere in the puddle, and then you can suck it out.
Okay.
That's it.
Oh, here we go.
Beautiful. You can see it sucks very well. The whole puddle is good.
Obviously, this has huge implications in your practice.
Absolutely. I operate from 8 in the morning till 8 tonight. Bad equipment, literally will hurt my hand, will make me more fatigued, and that's not good for patient outcomes.
Besides being a vital piece of equipment, the Cadence Suction Irrigator is a perfect example of how the design process should work.
Now, an innovation creating the perfect cup of coffee.
We Australians love our coffee, but sometimes our cafe just isn't nearby. These guys have created injection brewing so that we can have great coffee anywhere.
Like many Australians, I love my coffee, and I mean love my coffee. Whether I'm in the city or the great outdoors, the problem is getting hold of a good one. I think I may have found my solution to that. So Mark, you're obviously someone who really loves their coffee, and this is not your first product that you've designed?
No, that's exactly right. So back in 2017, I actually entered the Trinity 1 in the Good Design Awards.
Of course, yeah. What makes the Delta different?
Yeah, so basically a lot of the other brewers out there use a process called immersion brewing. And the Delta is the very first brewer in the world that uses injection method brewing.
Okay, hang on a sec, you need to explain this to me. So you're talking about immersion and then you're talking about injection. What are the differences between those two?
Well, I guess the best way is to go and show you how it works.
Let's go and grab a coffee.
Here we've got your typical household brewer, the French press, which is under the banner of an immersion brewer. It's pretty straightforward. It's just you mix the coffee and water together. Now, the process is a bit limiting in that all of the water and all of the coffee are mixed together.
Mixed up like soup.
So to solve that problem, I've created a process I call injection method brewing. We've already got the coffee inserted in the bottom, and I'm going to add my water in the top here. And then you simply raise the plunger up. As you raise it, the seal breaks, and then the water can actually enter the press zone at the bottom. As you can see, the coffee and water are separated the whole time, but now that I'm pressing it, it's actually entering the coffee. I'm going to also plunge the French press. So here you go, you can have a taste and see for yourself. This is the immersion method brewing.
That's not the nicest cup of coffee I've ever had, I have to say.
Well, here's hoping that the very first injection method coffee that you've had is much better.
Oh man, that is remarkably different. And that's
Brilliant.
The same coffee in both those
Exactly
two.
right, it's just the method that's different.
The ultimate test for a product like this boils down to the taste, and I can genuinely tell you that was the best cup of coffee I've had outside of a coffee shop.
After the break, Paul talks dishwashers. Well, welcome back to Australia by Design Innovation. We're searching for the top innovation from around the country. And right now our judges are about to select just one or two from this episode to go through to our series final. But first, does anyone know where Caves Beach is? because that's where we're heading for this next piece of innovation.
I really like Norris, an incredible company, leaders in their field. They really know what they're doing. The glass cleaning systems for the hospitality industry, I mean, these people lead the field. If you look at what they do and how they manufacture, their low carbon footprint, they put all that tech into what they make and how they run their company.
All right, I'm going to talk to a bloke in a pub about a dishwasher. Now, what can be more exciting than that? Come on. Greg, what's your poison?
I'll have beer. Actually, Paul, it all started with beer. Vince Norris in 1954 sat at a bar like this, and I'm guessing he's reading the paper and he saw that the New South Wales government changed the law.
Thank you.
That you weren't allowed to refill a glass unless it was first sanitised. And he thought to himself, I reckon I could make a machine to do that. And we've been making it ever since.
And how are these machines different to my dishwasher at home?
Our dishwashers do a load in 1 minute.
A minute?
1 minute. Well, welcome to our humble factory, Paul, in Caves Beach.
I had to look that up, Greg, I have to confess.
Don't feel bad, everybody does. This is where it all starts. We do about 100 units a month. Guess how much it costs us in power to run this site?
I'm guessing $6,000, $5,000.
In April, it cost us, I've got a bill here, for $20.40.
You're joking.
No, I'm not. We've built this way of thinking about matching our consumption with our generation.
That's remarkable. And I guess it's that type of thinking about your internal processes that you've applied to your product innovation.
That's what we've done. So, Paul, here's one of our old ones.
Okay.
We've been making these for years.
Gotcha.
And by comparison, this is the one that saves all the energy.
So this is what you won the Good Design Award for?
Yes.
Well, all I see is a curvy pipe here.
These pipes take wasted heat that would normally escape the cabinet, and turn it into hot water.
Hold on, so you're harvesting the redundant heat?
Yes, that would normally be wasted.
That's genius.
And right now we're working with the CSIRO on how we might take our ideas and apply them for others.
Fantastic, Greg. So this is Caves Beach, and I'm genuinely moved by what the guys are doing here. It's a small company thinking much bigger and daring to share it with the wider community. This is what I call open source innovation, and there's a lot of larger companies that can learn from these guys.
So my young boys, Jasper and Rafi, are techies at heart, but I've been looking for the right thing to actually help them develop software, and I think this next product could be it.
I've always considered myself to be a techie kind of guy. But when it comes to coding, I wouldn't know the first basic steps.
We have a lot of frustrated children out there who watch techies making stuff. And they think, well, I've got a good idea too. I want to get involved. And we've created a product, a platform that allows everyone to give it a go.
Hey Alex, you've
Hey,
got to help
Brandon.
me out here, mate. I look at that and I quite literally think that my computer's crashed.
That's a very natural reaction, so don't worry about it. And actually, that's why we decided to create the Kitsy platform. You know, trying to change that fear people have when they're introduced to coding, science, and IT in general, okay? This is what we call the Kitsy platform. Each one of these blocks was designed to perform one particular functionality.
So am I correct in assuming this is actually like a little piece of complex code that I just saw, but you've put it in a block?
That's right. It's complex code plus hardware. So you don't have to know about electronics beforehand. The block on there, it appears here online.
Oh, and that comes up on the screen?
That's right. And not only that, the system gives you real-time feedback of what's happening. So this block in particular gives you measurements as you touch it.
Right, so this is the touch block?
That's a touch block, that's
and
correct.
And it actually, it's measuring where my
Your
finger is on this pad.
Exactly. Left, yes.
Oh, that's so cool.
That's it.
I've just done my first bit of programming.
That's coding.
Well, we've designed a car that will basically go around in the forest, preventing and like go around checking the temperature to make sure like if there's a bushfire, it would notify people.
How long did it take you guys to make this thing? Do all the programming?
Hour or two, 2 hours.
Hang on a second. This took you an hour or two?
Yeah.
Are you serious? I was thinking like maybe weeks.
The joy is watching them do something they were told they couldn't do.
Abraham Lincoln once said, the best way to predict the future is to create it. Like it or not, technology is our future, and our next generation will need to learn the language of technology to help solve tomorrow's challenges.
In this series, we've introduced the Freedman Accelerator Award. Peter Freedman will handpick a startup innovator from the series for mentoring and to introduce them to Rode Microphone's business networks on the Australian and international stage. The winner will be announced later in the series.
This Accelerator Award is my way of giving back a little bit, and through this series, I can't wait to see who we're going to pick.
Still to come, Ali explores a try before you buy housing option, and which innovations from this episode will be selected by our judges to go through to the final. Just 2 stories to go in this episode of Australia by Design Innovations. Which projects will our design industry judges select to go through to the final?
Housing affordability is a huge issue for many Australians. Assemble is a new approach to help get people into the market.
The real estate model is broken. It worked for years and it still works for some. But for the majority, and for someone like me, it's just inaccessible. Assemble might be the fix. So, I know that it can be really difficult to buy your first home. What is it that you do to make it easier?
We've designed a model, the Assemble model, where we give people the opportunity to try out their community and their house. So we give them a long 5-year lease before they've got to commit to buy.
So then tell me how the process all works.
We allow our future residents to participate in the design and look and feel of the building and what sort of things they would like included in it. And then before we even start building, we say to them, we're going to give you a 5-year lease from the point at which the building's finished, and we're going to pre-agree how much the rent is for every one of those 5 years, so you know that up front. And we're also going to pre-agree a price which you can buy the apartment for at the end of the lease if you choose to. During construction, we start them in the financial coaching service if they choose to. They'll know that, as long as I can sort of save X dollars per week over the 7 years, then I'm likely to have enough deposit together to be able to buy the property at the end if I choose to. If you don't like what we build, or if you don't like the way that we're managing the building, or if you don't like your neighbours, you can just give the keys back and we'll give your bond back and you can move back around the corner and you're no worse off. You say, well, that's a really interesting sort of proposition between a developer and its residents.
What are the really key things about Assemble that you found the best?
I think for me, the sustainability aspect of it, so the fact that we actually get to test drive the building across 5 years, you don't normally get that.
It was going to be virtually impossible to own a property in Kensington or anywhere around the city, like having to go quite far out. But knowing exactly what I need to save up and how long I've got, that was a big incentive for me.
To me, that's very important to model to my children and to the next generation, that it is an alternative future and we can have it in our lifetime.
Your first step onto the housing ladder can be a very daunting experience, especially when you're buying off the plan. By letting residents be part of the planning process and letting them try before they buy, Assemble takes a lot of the fear away.
Next, a simple yet effective innovation.
If you've been crabbing, you know that catching them is great fun. Getting them out can be a bit challenging. Not anymore.
Traditions can be a wonderful thing, but can be a barrier to innovation. This next product revolutionises while still honouring those traditions.
So Kate, your granddad was a bit of an inventor, wasn't he?
He was, and in fact he's the one that introduced me to crabbing back when I was very young. This is a traditional crab pot. It's been used for generations. This nylon is really hard to get the crabs out of once they get caught, and they can easily lose their claws and their legs. But as you can also see how this pot has come away?
Oh yeah, it's broken.
It's rusted out, it's broken, and ultimately now this will get thrown into landfill.
So what have you done to solve that problem?
Well, I invented the crab crib.
It looks a little like the crab pot.
It is. There's a lot of similarities in the shape and design of it. But what I've done with this is address the problems of tangling and damage to the crabs, particularly the female crabs. We've got 2 females here. When they are full of their eggs or buried, This pouch opens up and you get an enormous brown sponge, which is millions and millions of eggs. Now, the other nylon pots, they cut into those eggs, especially when you're trying to get them out of the pots.
Not ideal at all for future sustainability of the species. So Kate, I guess some people would query the use of plastic here.
Of course, the connection with plastic and the ocean is obviously a hot topic. Plastic doesn't have to be the enemy of the ocean if it's used correctly. And for this, it's more friendly to the species. They can't rip it, they can't get caught up. Traditional crab pots, they get ripped and then people throw them into landfill, or they just throw them overboard and they drift away. I called my mum. It was her father, Grandy, that was teaching me how to fish and crab. And she got a bit teary and she said Grandy would just be so proud. And I really think he would.
Time to find out from our judges which innovations from this episode have been selected to go through to the best of the best final later in the series.
I'm not surprised to see Virtual Jeff in the finals, taking a mechanical whammy and turning it into a digital whammy. Unbelievable.
Well, our tough bunch of judges only picked one project this time around. Congratulations to Virtual Jeff for making it through to our top 10 final for this series. Join us next time for more amazing designs on Australia by Design Innovations. For more information on any of today's innovations, go to australiabydesign.com.au.